Hi, and welcome to our podcast, Good Deeds Real Estate with a Mission. I'm Diane Davidson from the Fine Homes Group, and I'm here with Bill Weidecker, my partner. Hi, Bill.
Good day to you.
Good day to you, Bill.
Here in advance of the incoming weather that we've got.
Yes, my father, if he was still alive, would be driving to the supermarket for more milk and more bread.
Well, because of last week and the storm, and this week in the storm, we're going to be eating French toast.
Bread and milk, yeah.
Bread, milk, and eggs make really great French toast.
They do.
What are we talking about today? I think multiple offers is the
Yep.
conversation.
Yep. I think just in general, I hear a lot of other agents say things like, well, I'm waiting to see which offer my seller selects. And you and I have talked about this, and just the level of sort of analysis and counseling that we do throughout the offer process with our sellers. Certainly have our systems in place to evaluate offers and give our sellers the best advice. And just want
Okay.
to share that.
So because we've talked, my thoughts about it, and I've always said to others, the standard purchase agreement in the state of New Hampshire is a fill-in-the-blank form. And the realtors representing buyers or the real estate agents representing buyers fill in those blanks. And there's 102 or 103 blanks in that contract. And only 2 of them represent price.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of the other blanks are there to either add value or detract value to the potential seller, if we're talking about sellers today. And so just imagine if you were a seller and I said, here's the offer, but I just want to cover everything else except for the price. You want it? You probably wouldn't, you'd want to go, well, tell me more. And so I think that's what we're hired for, is not like, here they are, you tell me which one you want to pick.
Right.
It's a fool's errand, I believe, if you don't engage the advice and counsel of your realtor to say, based on these, here's what I think we should do, because we know now multiple offers isn't 2 or 3. It can be 15 or 20 or more.
Yep.
And managing through that process is one that our expertise is going to help with, because
Correct.
you might be able to take out full contingencies or get buyers to raise their price, raise their terms, be flexible on their time. There's lots of things. Your take. I guess I'm interested in your take.
We talk about a common practice with multiple offers is that listing agents ask buyer's agents to have their clients submit their highest and best offer. And what we've learned, sort of figured out recently, is it's their highest and best under the circumstances, meaning given the facts they have, which are, I am one of 17 other offers, I am one of more than 10 offers, or one of multiple offers. And so under those circumstances, I'm going to offer $350,000 and close in 2 weeks, right? Now, if somebody had said to that buyer, if you'll pay $355 and close in a week, it's yours, whatever, right? So, but no one's saying that. So the circumstances they find themselves in are that other people are bidding against them. I think a big mistake that agents can make when they're representing sellers is that when they say highest and best, that it is the highest and best that a buyer is willing to pay under this at all. Sorry, but when the circumstances change, and if a seller was to go back to a buyer and say, if your buyer, or to their agent and say, if your buyer can close a week sooner, and they're willing to let us rent back, and they'll pay $7,000 more, it's theirs. And oftentimes the buyer will say yes, because the circumstances have changed. They have been given a finite set of terms that if they choose to accept, the property is theirs. And so the highest and best, under the circumstances of competing with a bunch of other people, is often different than the highest and best when the seller comes back to just them.
Mm-hmm.
So they weren't lying, they weren't being deceitful, they were doing what their agent asked them to do. But when the circumstances changed, so did their offer. So we've on behalf of our sellers, and we understand that we're working with buyers too. So we kind of play that pretend game, pretend buyer, that if the seller came back to you and says this, and this, would you do it? And our counsel to them is often, then let's put that on paper, because oftentimes you won't have the opportunity. But I do want to say one thing in this market. We were talking today about interest rates and how we thought we're watching to see how much it affects the market, because it usually does, right? So with interest rates rising, when we're working with our seller clients and we get a pre-qualification letter or pre-approval letter for the buyer making an offer, if the amount in that letter is exactly what they're offering to pay, then we as listing agents need to make sure that they are qualified in case the interest rates go up during the time that they're under contract, right? And so those are the kinds of things that we, even before we sit down with our sellers, know. We always send our offers to our sellers when we get them, because legally we're responsible to send them off to present them as soon as humanly possible. But we caution them that we'd rather they didn't get too involved in all the terms. We're going to review all of those with them. And usually, if there are many offers, there are a few that rise to the top. That those are the people that we're going to have the first sort of second round with. But one of the things we're doing now because interest rates are may go up again, is making sure that a buyer still qualifies for that purchase price
at the higher rate.
Yep. So there's that kind of legwork we do in advance of meeting with the seller.
Well, and let's keep in mind, now this is another, if we're going to talk at all about rates a little bit with our clients, with our seller clients especially, is everyone has sort of heard that the Fed is planning 3 or possibly 4 rate increases in the discount rate over the course of the next year. What our clients don't realize is that rates have moved in the last year. Fixed mortgage rates are up about 0.75% for the 15-year fixed and the 30-year fixed. So they've already risen and stand to raise potentially more. And so from my perspective, I think, all right, we are in these sort of halcyon days of where the market is going up and up and up and up, and there's an opportunity. But we also know that as prices increase, if you add in the component of mortgage rate increases, affordability starts to come into question, and qualification, to your point, starts to fall into question too.
Right.
So, my feeling is that in this market, sellers and buyers should want the same thing, and that's if they arrive at all of the terms, they should close as quickly as they possibly can, because both stand to benefit, really.
Right. Yep. Now, interest rates, I think a lot of people don't know this, but interest rates typically can only be locked in for 60 days from the time of application, right? So that's something else to consider when offers come in. If there's a longer closing time, or if a buyer can't move for a period of time within the 60 days, then we also structure offers often whereby there's a closing within the 60 days and the seller has the ability to stay, which is perfectly fine with the bank up to 59 days beyond the closing.
Yeah, and I think what we'll probably see in this upcoming year is if the market becomes at all interest rate sensitive, you'll see those rate locks be able to be increased for a price.
Always a price.
Remember, it's back in the days when the rates were high and you were nervous about them going even higher. Mortgage companies and banks are in business to do business, and so they're going to say, what if we could get a 90-day lock and it was 30 days more than the 60 and it would cost 1 point or 2 points or whatever it was up front? Could we get people to do it, or a half a point, whatever it is? And we'll see that. We'll see that kind of thing come up.
I'm thinking of that awful word, buy down. Remember that? I got my license in 1979, by the way. Happy anniversary, 43 years. Anyway, when I got my license, that week was the first time in history that rates, in recorded history, where rates went up over 10%, and then so on and so on. So it crept up to 17 pretty quickly, and people were buying. When we say that now, it's like ancient history. When I say when buyers were buying down the rate or asking sellers to pay points to buy down the rate, they can't even imagine. I mean, you'd be buying it down from 3 to 0.
Yeah.
Right, but when it was 17, buying it down to 14 made a huge difference in the affordability.
Well, and to put a bow on this idea of multiple offers, all of these things come into question, all of these potential terms. And so just getting 14 offers and saying, all right, that's the best price, well, let's take that one, is really cause for alarm, I think. And so it really is you want to have kind of an agent who's got a steady hand at the tiller to say, all right, wait a minute. Here's 17 offers. Here's 14 that we really can put a little less weight on unless something magical happens with them. But here's the 4 that bubble up, and where do we want to go based on who's got the best price, based on who's got the best terms, based on who's got the best, we'll name our first child after you, whatever other terms there are.
Protected class, we can't do that.
Well, that actually was, believe it or not, there was an offer in Canada where they said, if you take our offer, we will name our son or daughter after one of you.
Okay, do they have the same rules around protected
I
classes?
have no idea. So the point is you need a steady hand to say, well, let's sort through all of this. Somebody who's a little less excited, but a lot of interest in achieving for the seller client what they want, right? But you sellers are going to be excited. That's emotion. Agents do this all the time.
Right.
That's profession.
So I think to put a bow on your bow, this came about, this discussion between
Can
the
I
two
put a
of
bow
us.
on
Absolutely,
the bow that
it'd
you
be like a
put?
macrame plant hanger by the time I finished with it. So I got nervous when I started hearing other agents say, when waiting to see which offer my seller selects, without the proper amount of counsel and the proper amount of vetting that on the agent's behalf, on the agent's part before they. So I just want to make sure that people are in good hands and that the agents that are listing properties on their behalf understand that whole process. It's really important because it's what gets you to the finish line. Like you said, it's not just price, it's terms that help to bulletproof and help increase the probability of coming to a closing.
I had a broker years ago say to me, 80% of the transactions that fall apart never should have gone together in the first place. So there's the bow on the bow on the bow. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Wrap
with
it
that quadruple bowing, thanks for being here today. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on your favorite podcast platform. Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome. Good to see you all.